Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I'm a PhD student at the University of Warwick in the UK, and I'm also a graduate teaching assistant. If you're new, this YouTube channel is dedicated to talking about how to get fully funded international scholarships in top universities around the world. So I've been presently awarded 5 international scholarships, and I accepted 3 and declined 2. And this channel is dedicated to talking about how to help you get funding opportunities as well. But today we'll be talking specifically about the MasterCard scholarship at the University of British Columbia. So the MasterCard scholarships are quite numerous and at different universities. We have some in the UK, some in some universities in Africa, in the US, and in Canada, and I think also in a number of universities in the Middle East. But this particular video is dedicated to talking about how to write the scholarship essays and the MasterCard scholarship essays for the University of British Columbia. So if this is your first time hearing about this opportunity, there is a link below. Click on that link and see the eligible courses and what the scholarship covers. The scholarship actually covers everything: living allowance, tuition, even travel costs, and other things you might need when you eventually get the scholarship. So let's go straight into the scholarship questions. There are a number of questions, I think 5 of them, that you need to answer while you submit your other documents as well. So this video is aimed at sharing some suggestions with you on how to attempt these questions. So let's begin. So question number 1. Please tell us your story. What is of importance to you and reflects who you are? I'll take that once again. Please tell us your story. What is of importance to you and reflects who you are? 200 to 300 words. So how do we approach this first question? So I have a number of points here I wish to share with you. And I think this question is about your personal passion and interest, and why you are actually passionate about this particular interest or passion, and how they shape your life, how they shape your goals and your personality. So my first tip is that you should try to situate your passion or your interest in place and time. I'll take that again. Situate your passion or your interest in place and time. And what does this mean? It means you should come up with probably a story of how you picked up this particular interest or passion. And you might ask, what kind of interest or passion are we talking about here? There are interest that has to do with your own career development, your own professional development or academic development, things that interest you about the society, that also touches your personal life or the life of your family or the life of your community. And what are examples of these kinds of interests or this kind of passion? Well, you might be passionate about the dignity of the human person, that everybody should have access to basic amenities like food, water, and clothing. And you could share a brief story of how you came across situations, you came across cases or individuals, or things that even happened to you or a friend, or things you read about that provoked this interest in you. This interest in providing potable water, for instance, for the people, or providing food on the table, of pushing for government accountability, or pushing for transparency. I'm giving these particular examples because I noticed that for this University of British Columbia MasterCard scholarship, the eligible courses are centered around food technology, food science, water technology, data science, and things like that. So the examples I'll give are probably examples related to the eligible courses in the first place. So for instance, if you're interested in transparency, and you could also always recount an incident that you had or an incident you heard of, about the need for transparency and how that provoked you and made you a champion for transparency. And now you intend to use your data skills to promote governmental transparency and how to use data or information technology to promote accountability in governmental parastatals and things like that. That could be your drive because you're concerned that the government is not transparent enough, the government is not responding to the needs of the people enough, and you want to use technological solutions to solve this problem. Then why is it important to you? Again, you could give a personal account of things you came across or a story you heard. But apart from the personal account, my second point is that connect whatever passion you have, whatever interest you have, to the nationwide or to a global interest or a global issue. For instance, having recounted your personal story, show that this is not just a limited incident or an incident that pertains to you alone, but an incident that affects the whole country, the whole continent, or probably the whole world. A good way of doing this is tying your interest to probably things like the sustainable development goals, for instance. This is a global goal. So if you're interested in transparency, for instance, look for one of these SDGs that connects to transparency. Or if you're interested in data analysis for solving a particular problem, look for global trends or national trends that connect to the issue you're trying to raise. For instance, if you're into food technology, food preservation, I think the SDG number one talks about this goal to achieving zero hunger in the world. So try to look for how to connect it to the global or national trends. Churn out statistics as well to show that this your interest is actually of broader concern. You're not just worried about this because it affects only you or your family or your friend, but there are lots of people affected by this particular issue, and you're interested in it and you want to bring it to the fore. So I think it's just 200 or 300 words, and you have to be precise. Make sure you hit the nail on the head. What your interests are, locate the interest, where it comes from. Probably a short story. The word limit is not that large, as I said earlier. So perhaps a story. Then connect that story to a global trend or to a national trend, depending on the issues or depending on your particular interest. Then do not state at the moment what you're doing about this particular interest, because that is what the second question will be asking you, your community development initiative, and what you're already doing in your own space to address this concern, to follow this passion. So do not say it yet because you have enough time to say it, but just say the interest, why it is relevant, and connect it to the global or national events, national trends. So let's move to the second question. The second question: describe a recent meaningful involvement in your community, including what your role is or has been in the activities. As usual, 200 to 300 words. And this is exactly what I was speaking about earlier, about how you were able to engage with your passion, what you're doing already to solve this problem you've mentioned in your first question. Because I want there to be a flow, so there should be, even though these questions they seem disjointed, like you have number one, number two, number three, it doesn't mean there shouldn't be a flow or a thread of similarity among these questions. So issues raised in the first question should be addressed in the second question, if you understand what I mean. So for this second question, I think it's quite straightforward about your community involvement, things you're already doing to improve those areas you've mentioned at first. So as usual, probably you've heard of the STAR method: the situation, task, action, and result. So you give a real life scenario, drop particulars. What I mean by particulars are probably names of communities you work with or names of organizations you work with. Give numbers, estimates of the number of people you are engaged with, the particular thing you did. Do not subsume your achievements or your activities in a group activity. So don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying you shouldn't work in a group or in a team. But when you are discussing your community activity or the way you are impacting in a particular area, show what you did personally. So use the word I. I did this, I did that, I initiated this, I spearheaded that, I introduced this. Do not be stingy with the word I. They want to know what you did, not just what the group did. Because if you work in a group, for instance, there are lots of tendencies that people might just hide under the group and claim the responsibility of the group or claim the achievements of the group as their own achievements. So to avoid this, single out your own achievements even though you're working with a group. So as usual, the STAR method. What was the issue? What was the task that had to be implemented? What actions? What was the situation? I'll take that again. The situation, that's the problem. The task that has to be undertaken. What did you actually do to solve that problem? Or what are you still doing to solve that problem? And the result, what are the early results? Can you give an estimate with numbers or percentages to show you're doing something? And since it's a community activity, a community drive, you have to show how people are impacted by what you're doing. It's not just about your own personal development, your own personal goals. It also has to do with giving back to the society, helping people, lifting them out of poverty, improving their knowledge. Probably you teach computer data science as a volunteer. Probably you're helping farmers with new ways of preserving agricultural products. Or for instance, you're solving the water scarcity issue in rural communities, or you're solving the drought issue or the erosion issue or things like that. So always show the community dimension of whatever you're doing. That is how it is affecting people, not just how you've been able to get a good job for yourself or climb your academic career, your professional career. That wouldn't show enough of community engagement or community involvement. So it's about other people. This cannot be overemphasized. So let's move to the third question. So the third question: why are you interested in studying at UBC, University of British Columbia? And how do you envision your chosen program of studying at UBC helping you to reach your long-term career and personal goals? What drives you to achieve your goals? So I think this is also pretty clear. Why choose this university? And the best way to answer the first part of this question is go to the rankings of the university. You could always check university rankings and where UBC ranks. Also check the particular department you're going to, the ranking of that department. So university ranking, the broad university ranking, then departmental ranking. Then you go to the course, particularly that course or that department, and check the particular modules in that department and see what kind of skills they will help you with. So engage a little bit more critically with the department. Go to the module, see what it has to offer. Look at what the lab looks like. Look at the facilities they have and see how particularly these things are going to help you. Then go to the professors as well. Most, if not all universities, all internationally recognized universities, have a website and they have the staff profile. So go to the staff profile, choose some top professors there whose research, whose interest align with yours. And mention why you would like to study with this professor, how you even like this professor to be your like a supervisor or an academic mentor. Show relationship, show similarities between your interest and that of the professor. Also, you could also write something about your intention to collaborate with this professor in your future goal or something, because you have similar interests, you have similar research focus. Then the course you've chosen, say why you chose this course in the first place. Show how it relates with the course you did in undergrad, or how it relates with your own professional goals, or how it relates with the work experience you've achieved, how it relates with your career interests. Then I think it's also important to state what you intend to do after acquiring this degree. After staying in this department for 1, 2 years and you graduate, what do you intend to do with the skills, with the connections and the network you've gained from the university, from the department? And they said long-term and personal goals. So I think you should also give this your elaborate, broad goals that you intend to achieve, and always connect them to the skills you hope to get, the connections you hope to get, the exposure you hope to get from the department. How these skills, exposure, knowledge will help you to this particular future goal you're aiming at. Then I think a second or a third part of that same question that says what drives you to achieve your goals. I think it's quite instructive as well. I don't need to write much about this because you already mentioned things about your interest. Remember in your first question. So here, just remind them of what you said in your first question, or in your first answer. I mean to say, what is driving you? What is pushing you forward? How your interest is based on an urgent issue that needs urgent intervention. So the need, for instance, for food preservations, new technology for food preservations, to avoid famine, to avoid spoilage of food items, to ensure um, timely distribution of food products in your particular community, in your particular country. It's pushing you forward to look for innovative skills, innovative ways of maintaining or preserving food, for instance. And these skills you acquire from this university, from this department, will furnish you with ways of addressing this problem. So this need or this drive to solve this problem is what is propelling you forward. So let's go to the fourth question. Persistence is crucial for the completion of this. Please describe a situation where you had to overcome a significant obstacle or challenge to reach a goal. How did you react to this challenge and what did you learn from the situation? I think this is also pretty clear. So, a challenge you went through, how you addressed the challenge or reacted to the challenge, and what you learned from it. So, whatever example you give, also try to connect it to your professional career or your academic career. So, don't just give random examples because you want there to be a flow. So, whatever you give, try to connect it to what you said earlier, to your interest, to your focus, to your area of specialization. So, and remember, state the problem and state particularly what you did about the problem, the initiatives you took about the particular problem, who you contacted to probably help you. I don't think that is bad. Even knowing who to contact or reaching out to somebody is itself a way of solving a problem, if you ask me. For instance, there's a problem, you could not do it on your own, but you ran around to mobilize resources, whether human or material resources, to pursue a particular solution. That's one way of reacting to a problem. The initiative you took, the people you mobilized or the resources you mobilized, the long hours you had to stay to solve this particular problem, the sleepless nights, write it there. And as I said earlier, try to make it a problem that relates to your area of specialization. It could be a problem that arose during your studies, or a problem that arose during your career experience, your professional experience. And importantly, what did you learn? What did this experience leave you with? So, having solved the problem, having addressed the difficulty, what did you learn? You could say you learned the virtue of networking, for instance. That because you were able to solve this problem because you were able to mobilize human and human and material resources based on your network. That when this problem arose, you immediately reached out to those you think could help, or you were able to mobilize a team on time, and through brainstorming, through putting out of ideas, you were able to come up with something. So this highlights the need for a strong network. So in case of a crisis, a strong network will be there to help with ideas and with resources. You could also say this as taught you the need for perseverance, to keep pushing in spite of difficulties, or the need for honesty. So it depends on the particular example you're giving, but always live with a lesson that the examiners or those reading your essay would think is relevant for you as a human being, as a career professional or an academic professional. So you could put perseverance, the need for strong network, the need for sacrifice, for instance, or leadership, and things like that. So let's see the last. I think this is the last question. Should be the fifth and the last question. So it says, what else should we know about your financial condition in order to consider you for the scholarship? So this question is about financial need. So do not just rush by saying how difficult it has been for you and how you need assistance to finance your studies. Yeah, that is what they want you to say, but that is what every other candidate will be saying, if you understand what I mean. So try to give it some style, try to give it a different kind of coloration. So how do you go about this? So you tell them about if you've received scholarships in the past or previous kind of financial assistance in the past, you could tell them about it. That's another thing some people do not realize. They think if you tell them that you received a scholarship in the past, they won't give you another one. And that's not necessarily true, because my experience has actually been the contrary. Because I've been able to get 5 different scholarships. And I got the scholarships while informing the communities or the new scholarship that yes, I've received one already. And they're like, oh, no problem, you deserve another one. And this is how to go about it. So if you've received any scholarship in the past, or any form of assistance for your educational journey, for your professional journey, state it there. But the important thing is that you show a track record of how you're able to utilize any opportunity given to you. And what do I mean by this? Tell them that, oh, I was supported in my university education, for instance, by probably there's this church that gave me probably a partial scholarship or some funds to buy a textbook, or I had this relative that helped me, or these people that helped me. So probably because I wasn't able to fund my studies myself, or my family wasn't able to raise enough funds for my studies, so I got help here and there. And at the end of the day, I was able to give back my benefactors their money's worth by taking my studies seriously, by graduating with a very good results and things like that. So I have a track record of utilizing any opportunity given to me. And I have a track record of showing appreciation for any opportunity given to me, especially financial opportunities to further my studies, by returning the favor. And how do I return the favor? By a stellar academic performance. And then states how these assistants have actually helped you, the assistants you've received in the past. That with these different assistants and probably as scholarships or maybe full or partial scholarships or things like bursary awards or probably grants for textbook, that after this I've been able to graduate with this particular result, and I've been able to move probably to get a job, and I'm making advancements now in my career, and I'm appreciative to those who have actually assisted me. So that's one part. Then the second part you move on to, this is what I'm actually earning at the moment. This is what I'm actually earning at the moment. Unfortunately, this is not enough to sponsor my studies, my advanced studies or my master's degree. I want to advance in my professional career or in my academic career, and I need a master's degree in the top university in the world. But unfortunately, I cannot afford, because my present income is not enough to finance my studies. Put an estimate of your present income in the currency of that country, and in this case, in the currency of Canada. I think that's Canadian dollars. Convert whatever you're earning in a year and put the estimate in Canadian dollars. Now, this is what I'm earning presently, and unfortunately, it is not enough to finance my studies. So I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for this opportunity of the MasterCard scholarship that provides full funding for master's degree program. So this will be a dream come true, because it will help me to advance my professional academic career. in spite of my low income threshold. And remember, state your income thresholds there. So I hope you followed the way I arranged this. Show how you've been able to advance so far in your academic pursuits, what assistance you got in the past, and how you were able to judiciously utilize whatever assistance you've gotten in the past. State what you're doing presently, your an estimate of your present income. Then show why this income is not enough to sponsor your studies. So give an estimate of the income you're earning. Probably compare it with the fees at the department you're applying to. That if you compare what I'm earning now, converting it to the currency of Canadian dollars, and then compare it to the fees you need to pay and the living expenses, so that what you're earning is a far cry from what um, they are they are requesting. Then you're appreciative of this initiative, that's this MasterCard scholarship, because it will help you, despite your low income, to achieve your professional and academic goal. So try to remind them that those assistance you've received in the past, you were able to use them judiciously and give your benefactors their money's worth. I think that is important. And yes, that is it, guys. I hope this was informative. I hope it was instructive. I hope you had learned one or two things from this point. And by the way, these are just suggestions. Feel free to amend them and be creative about it. Look for ways this can engage with your own personal story, with your own personal experience, with your own personal account. And I wish you success in your application. And do not forget to watch my other videos on things like personal statements or how to write an academic CV. There are other things you could um, pick from, other videos you could watch that will also beef up your application. So just do not forget to do that. And until next time, guys, bye bye, and I wish you all the best and success.